All right, come on in, everybody. Welcome back to the Holler. tnholler.com is our website, at the TN Holler, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. TikTok, Blue Sky, Hollers hollering across the state. Thanks to your support. We appreciate it. Your chipping in really keeps us going. Make it $10 a month and get one of these sweet hats like the one I'm wearing. Appreciate everybody who's doing that. And then also appreciate the people who support us, like Elisa Parker. If you're buying or selling a home, do it through her. If you need a lawyer, Abby Rubenfeld. And then we have a bunch of other supporters. All right, I just wanted to jump on here, talk about something that's sticking in my craw today. Should be sticking in everyone's craw, frankly. Just absolutely ridiculous situation with these ICE agents, which, we're calling them Trump's Gestapo. I don't think that's overboard to call them that. They are just completely out of control, terrorizing so many communities, terrorizing immigrants, especially in LA, where they have focused, where there's a lot of Hispanic communities and people there, and they just seem to be running around grabbing brown people, sticking them in vans. These guys are wearing masks. They are in unmarked cars. They are not showing badges. They're just like pointing to these, dime store badges on their chests as though that somehow validates it, when everybody has seen that you can buy these things on Amazon for like $10. So it's just ridiculous what's going on out there. I just want to talk about this right now because it's really stressing me out too. And what I want to come on here and say is I have, as the Holler, been covering Tennessee politics for 7 years now. So we know some people, and I have some relationships now, and I talk to people on both sides of the aisle. Local media doesn't consider me media. That's fine. I don't care what you call me, but I do report about politics to people. You guys hopefully get some information from us, and a lot of it is from firsthand sources. We do repost a lot of stuff, and we do aggregate and curate, and we do a lot of that, but also we do original reporting. I mean, we do that a lot. And I do have connections. I do go to press conferences. I do talk to people. So I do try to do that when they let me in. And I do have some relationships with some people that are officials in cities in Tennessee. I'm not going to say specifically who, but you can take that as the truth. And so when I've been seeing these reports of fake ICE agents, which I'm going to show you a few of them now, fake ICE agents on CNN. This was back in February, but it happened. Arrests made during nationwide immigration crackdown. Then this was in Philly, where this guy pretended to be an ICE agent and robbed an auto shop. He zip tied a woman and thankfully just stole $1,000 in cash. That could have been a lot worse, right? And then we've got this instance in LA now, where they are saying that fake ICE agents were going after schools. And I'm going to play you that news report.
Unified Superintendent says fake ICE agents appear to be targeting the school district's community. Superintendent confirming 3 cases just within the last week.
NBC4's McCollum Medina live with details from LAUSD headquarters in downtown. Mac?
Well, Colleen and Michael, 2 of those cases apparently were reported by students and parents. 1 reported by a bus driver. The superintendent says it's all pretty menacing.
It seemed that it was to create intimidation. It seemed that it was to disrupt an educational environment, or maybe.
Anyway, you get the point. ICE agents going after buses, going after schools, going after kids. And this was inevitable, right? I mean, this was going to happen. You knew this was going to happen the way things have gone. Like, this was obviously going to happen, right? And so here we are, it's happening. And my question to people that I talk to in this state, in our state, is like, what can we do about it? And alarmingly, the answer was pretty much nothing. And I refuse to accept that. I absolutely refuse to accept that there's nothing that can be done about this. Now, what to do about it, I'm not 100% sure. But what I do know is this. If you drill down on the process of somebody shows up with a mask on in an unmarked car and won't show any real badge or ID, and you can't stop and say, I'm not getting in that car with you because until I know you're real, without then violating like some sort of resisting arrest law, that's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. That cannot be. You should have to at least identify yourself, or you should be able to, as the kidnappee, I'll say in that moment, or, you know, the person who's getting grabbed, which by the way, this is happening to United States citizens in LA and probably happened to citizens in Nashville. We don't know who it happened to because we don't have that information. And also, by the way, these city people say they don't really have any ability to find out who this is happening to. So this has probably already happened. And you've got these like bounty hunter situations showing themselves. Like this guy, Enrique Tarrio, the Proud Boy, who was an insurrectionist, has like an app where you get paid in crypto if you identify undocumented people. I mean, it's fucking nuts. But just to go back to the point, there has to be some point in the process where you are able to say, show me your ID, or I'm calling the cops, and you can ID yourself to them. And the cops come and they say, okay, this is really ICE or something. Because otherwise, what the fuck are we doing? You just have people in masks with bullshit vests and badges sewn into them that don't identify them at all, forcing you into unmarked vans. And if you don't go, you're committing a crime. This is crazy. This is crazy. And are we just going to wait until somebody gets kidnapped and raped? Which, who the fuck knows if that's happened or not already? By people pretending to be these guys. And who are these guys? I mean, that's another thing. I'm not even going to get into that, but like who are we actually deputizing to do this? You know, with the backing of the state, like who are these people? But you have to be able to at least differentiate between the people who are actually valid by, you know, whatever standards this government is using, not valid in my mind, but valid in their mind, who they actually at least can keep tabs on, and people that they can't. It's nuts that we are doing this without that at least in place. And you've now got 3 documented instances, at least, of this happening. The last of which is happening at a school with kids. It cannot be that we have no way of verifying who these people are when they are forcing people into vans. And now you mix that with our gun laws in this state, where everybody can have a gun and basically can shoot people who try to do this to them. Like, how long until somebody fires a gun at one of these guys? And whose fault will that be? Like, what does the law even say there? You don't know who these people are. And I can promise you this. Every single legislator who is a Republican in Tennessee who carries a gun, which probably all of them, if a masked man came to them and tried to force them into a car, they would shoot them. Every single one of them would shoot them in that situation. So what are we saying, that the Second Amendment rights don't apply to brown people? They only apply to white people? Because this is happening to U.S. citizens. There are many videos of this, and I don't know if they're reaching your Fox News feeds or whatever, but they're out there. It's happening to U.S. citizens. U.S. citizens are getting dragged out of their work vans. They're getting thrown up against fences. And then I know you've probably seen this by now, but I'm going to show it because it's horrific. This is what happened to a landscaper, a gardener, who is the father of 3 Marines in LA. And This was the video. I'm going to show you this twice. This is the first. This is the KTLA video of this guy getting beaten by masked, unidentified ISIS. Look, you're punching him in the head. You've seen this by now, I'm sure. This has gone viral, just getting punched. This is the father of 3 Marines who have now said they feel betrayed, right? And then, so I'm going to stop that. And then I'm going to play you. This was DHS saying, oh, but you didn't see the context. Here's the full video, they said. And then they shared what they claimed was him assaulting them with a weed whacker, which is him just running away from people who were spraying him with mace. Here, this is DHS's video. They posted this, right? They're spraying with mace, and they say that's assault with a weed whacker because he's trying to block the mace with the weed whacker and run up to this and getting punched. And they shared that video as though that somehow made it better, right? But here's what they just completely ignore in that video. Look at that. That's an ICE agent pointing a gun at a random car driving by. A masked guy with a tiny little vest in plain clothes, not identifying himself, pointing a gun at a car driving by. And so how long until somebody shoots back? How long until somebody shoots back? And whose fault will that be? And then ask yourself this. No matter what the law says about whose fault that actually is, who's going to get in trouble for it? Regardless of what the law says. We don't have a law anymore. We have whatever Donald Trump and Republicans say the law should be. And so what is that? What are we? We should be asking fundamental questions about what we are right now. Who are we? This is how we slip into totalitarianism, authoritarianism. This is how it happens, where we don't have a law anymore. It's whatever they say it is. It's whatever they want it to be. And the enforcers are whoever they decide. This is how it happens, guys. There's not an announcement. Today we are authoritarians. Today we are totalitarians. Today we have goose stepping. No, that's not how this works. This is how this works. Looking at some of your comments, yes, we're saying 2A rights are only for white people. Don't forget the guy just pointed a gun. Yep. Concepts of a law, exactly. Sorry, I missed some of yours. This is fascism. We warn you. Yes, as I said yesterday, the alarmists have yet to be wrong. I am a proud alarmist. Show me when we were wrong about this, about Gaza, about January 6th, and on and on and on and on. And as an alarmist, I am going to tell you, this is only going to get worse. This is only going to get worse. They are counting on us to fight back so martial law can be declared. You're probably right about that. You're probably right about that. You know, I personally don't think that can keep us from fighting back. And, you know, like with most things, it's what happened with the Tennessee 3 also. When you resist, it's the backlash, the crackdown that shows people what's really going on. So on some level, even though they're counting on the resistance, we also have to count on them cracking down, because the more they crack down, the worse this gets, the more people wake up. And it's a self-fulfilling thing. And I don't know where it ends. I'm not going to pretend to. But the crackdown, just like with Selma, where they walked across the bridge and they knew the crackdown was going to come. They knew they were going to get beaten, but it showed the world what was going on. Just like they're counting on the resistance has to count on the crackdown. And you can't let it stop you. That would be my pushback on that point. And none of it's easy. All of it's scary. Keep filming. I think that's a really important point. Keep filming. Film everything. Film everything. Always film. You say nobody reads. Yeah, that's true, James. I agree. But to bring it back to what I jumped on here to talk about, and this fake ICE stuff, you know, I think there has to be pressure on city officials to speak up about this and to pass ordinances to say you have to be able to call the police. At least you have to be able to call the police and say, come verify that this person is real. You have to. Or else what's going on? Or even better, make them show badges and ID themselves, which they should be doing anyway. And that brings me to, another aspect of this conversation, which is picking up steam and I think will be a big deal in January when we come back, if assuming this is all going on, which I'm 100% sure it will be. But, Marsha Blackburn has a secret police bill to basically codify this and to protect this and ensure that this will happen more. Instead of banning this fake ICE agent stuff and requiring ID, which is what we should be doing, Tennessee Republicans and Marsha are going the other way. And there's a state level bill from Jack Johnson and Cameron Sexton that is going to punish local officials who reveal the identities of these people that are doing this stuff. And, their argument is that, they're protecting us from criminals and Marsha's got this 500% ICE assault number that she pulled out of her ass that doesn't seem to be based on anything real. They're going the other way. They're trying to codify this and protect this mass vigilantism. So to me, the pressure has to be on the city to at least speak up about this wherever you are, all of your cities, at least have to speak up about this and at best tell their cops to start doing something about it. Make sure these people are at least real. I'm not trying to get into who they're grabbing and how ridiculous all of this is and how we are essentially crippling our own economy by, going after innocent people who pick our food and, take care of children and clean things and do jobs that Americans don't even apply for. Don't get me started on that and how upside down that whole conversation is. Very upside down. But if you are going to do this, at the very least, you need to let people know that these are real people before something terrible happens, which may already have happened. We don't even know. Because again, the city people that I talk to, they say they don't even have any way of verifying how many people have been grabbed, who they were, what they actually did to deserve it. None of that. The cities have been totally usurped in all this. Just saying, oh, there's nothing we can do. It's federal law. There's nothing we can do. It's state law. So now we are just at the mercy of obviously bad faith actors who may be doing this without any certification whatsoever. And then there's a whole scandal waiting to happen. I think we all know this, that the reason that they're protecting their identities like this is because of who these people are that are signing up to do this job, that are well compensated, by the way. So the money is a part of it. But, who these people are, what their backgrounds are. Is this militia people? Is this, people who were there that were pardoned at January 6th? I mean, I think we all know that that's probably true. But identifying themselves is not that much to ask. 100%. Seeing Facebook ads for fake uniforms and insignia. Private prison industry, yes. They want immigrants gone so they continue profit from free labor. The profit motive here is completely obvious and unmistakable. And now you've got this story this week about this facility that's being built in Florida called Alligator Alcatraz in the Everglades off in the middle of nowhere on an airport tarmac where they're going to be taking people and it's going to be like a tent camp in the hot Florida heat. You know, I mean, look, my grandparents survived the Holocaust. We're in concentration camps. Like, I'm not saying this is like the Holocaust where we're gassing people to death, but putting people in these concentration camps, which they are, and then the companies like CoreCivic and Geo Group that are doing it are I think the number was that camp right there is going to cost $450 million yearly. So this isn't just cruelty, it's big business. Brought to you by the people who say we're broke. They're making a lot of money doing this. There's a reason their stocks skyrocketed when he won and when they announced all this stuff. It's a cycle of cruelty, and it's vicious. And even if you support mass deportations of innocent people, to do it this way is horrific, and it's not polling well. And to me, I think it's a big part of why there's so much attention on the Middle East right now. It's because Trump needed to distract from something. But even if you support mass deportations, this ain't it. And then there was this video from Joe Rogan this week, which is like jaw-dropping, because how do you not know that this was coming? I have no idea. You were warned so many different times. This is Joe Rogan this week.
ICE raids are fucking nuts, man. Watching this protest on television, it's like
You think the raids are nuts? The
all of it's
yeah.
nuts.
I
The
think both
protests
sides are
nuts,
taking it a little
the
too
raids
hard.
well, I don't think if the Trump administration, if they're running and they said, we're going to go to Home Depot and we're going to arrest all the people at Home Depot, we're going to go to construction sites and we're going to just like tackle people at constructions. I don't think anybody would signed up for that. They said, we're going to get rid of the criminals and the gang members first. Right. And now we're seeing like Home Depots get raided. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. ICE raids are fucking nuts.
I mean, you were warned so many fucking times, man. You were warned so many times. Like I'm almost on the side of Trump and Stephen Miller and Vance on this because they told you they were going to do this. They had mass deportation signs at the RNC. Feigning ignorance on this is like ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But yes, I do agree that this is not what people want. Generally speaking, most of the country does not want this. And just because he won while a good amount of his base knew this was coming does not mean it's what the majority of the country wants. It doesn't. And, you know, like our friend Tim Miller said yesterday, like, you got duped, Joe, and now you see that it's wrong. And so speak up and be loud and let's put a stop to this. But the idea that you didn't know that this was coming is just crazy making. It's crazy making because it was so obvious this was going to happen. You know why? Because the policy that you're talking about, where they go after actual criminals, that's what Biden and Obama did. That was the policy. It's not like they weren't deporting people. That was the policy. That's what Kamala ran on. But no, over and over again, they made it clear that this was Stephen Miller's fever dream that we were going to get into, and that they were going to deputize the worst of the worst to run around playing Pokemon Go with undocumented people. And now that's literally what's happening. And they are very clearly getting paid per person. And for Joe Rogan to sit there and go, I don't think this is, people would have signed up for this. It's like, how did you not know this with that platform that you have and all the content that you obviously consume? How did you not know this? You're either lying your ass off or you're a moron. There's no third option here. You had to know this. Now, you can have regrets about it, and I hope you do, but you had to know this was coming. And so here we are. I'm looking at your comments now. Sorry. They had been warned, says Tina. Trans people are scared. Of course, you should be, sadly. First, it's the Hispanics, then Muslims. Next would be gays, then women who dissent. The slippery slope aspect of all of this is unmistakable. Obama didn't terrorize the country. Yeah, I mean, this was the policy. This was the policy of Biden, of Obama. The thing that you're talking about was the policy. And now Marsha needs us to think that this is all about criminals. And so she's out there saying that it's mostly criminals. But the truth is, Cato just posted this week that 65% have no convictions and 93% have no violent convictions. So this is not about getting violent people out of the community. It's not about that. Don't buy that. And I know if you're watching this feed, you probably know that, but it's not about that. We cannot let them lie about that. And as Ariana Grande says, could someone explain which crimes get you deported and which get you elected president? It's so confusing. She reshared that to her 400 million followers, which I think is important for people to use their platforms like that. And then I'm just going to leave you with this. Well, first I'll show you that you know, some people are pushing back. Tennessee Immigrant Coalition is suing over their harboring bill. But then this is going on every Friday. There's a protest at Marsha's office every Friday at noon. And Marsha needs some pressure. So I would encourage everybody to show up at that protest. I would encourage you to speak up about all of this stuff and pressure your city governments, because generally speaking, the cities are Democrats, to speak up about the fake ICE agent bullshit that is happening and make them get out in front of this before something really terrible happens, because it's coming. I am a proud alarmist. We have yet to be wrong. And I can guarantee you this fake ICE agent thing is going to go somewhere terrible. It already probably has. We just don't know it. It already probably has. You know who else was harbored? Anne Frank. That's right. That is the Anne Frank bill. I appreciate you guys so much. Truly means a lot that you follow what we're saying and you amplify what we're doing. Keep following. We'll see you next time. Thank you.